What's going on, guys? Welcome back to United View. Hope everyone is doing very well. Welcome back to a match preview. Yes, Manchester United are back in action once again after the draw at the weekend against Fulham. Next stop is Grimsby. Yes, next stop is in the Carabao Cup in the second round. Usually, we're quite used to entering in the third round of this competition, but we're not doing it this time because we're not in Europe. So we got to enter in the earlier stages, and that leads us to a trip to a League Two side. Yes, Grimsby, and you would hope, but anything's possible at this point, you would hope our first competitive win of the season. Of course, we lost against Arsenal, then we drew at the weekend against Fulham, both being Premier League fixtures. Now our attention turns to one of our domestic cup competitions we're in this season. Along with the FA Cup, we've got the Carabao Cup, EFL Cup, whatever you want to call it. Kickoff is tomorrow at 8 o'clock British summer time. It's at Blundell Park against Grimsby, who have actually had a pretty positive start to the season in League Two, actually. They've played 5 games. They've won 3. They've drawn 2. They've yet to lose. They haven't lost a game yet this season. You already know where this is going. They're currently 4th in League Two, so they're in a bit of form. They're doing all right. But we're here to talk about Manchester United, aren't we? Needless to say, suffice to say, it cannot be an embarrassment. It cannot be a defeat. Anything but a win, and to be honest, a pretty resounding one. But at this stage, let's start with a win. Let's just start with anything but a win, and well, I don't know if it actually would be. Well, you would think. I don't even know, but. It would surely it would be the beginning of the end for Ruben Amorim. If we didn't get through. I mean, I know. Look, the full focus isn't on cup competitions this season. It's just about the league. Get higher up the league. Try and get into Europe for next season. Then we'll start focusing back on cups. But it has to be a win. There is no way, because you win or you're out. So it's not as if there's going to be another draw. If there is a draw at full time, we go straight to pens. So a winner's going to have to be determined that night. If it's not a win, it's over for Ruben Amorim, because how can you come back from that? We've been embarrassed. He's got this terrible record anyway, let alone then losing to a League Two side. You can't get much lower than that, can you? So it's got to be a win. I expect it to be a win. These are certainly not the games that we're going to be judging progress on when it comes to this Manchester United team, is it? Last year, for instance, we played Barnsley in the Carabao Cup in the third round, and we beat them, 7-0 or something at the time. Erik ten Hag was gone in just a few weeks after that. So we maybe actually put a little bit too much importance on that, going, see, it's all fine, and it wasn't all fine. Now, as far as people that are going to be available and what team selection Ruben Amorim is going to go with. Well, Ruben Amorim, that's actually, at the time of recording this video, the quotes that he did on Sunday have just been released. So he is going to rotate. Amorim has confirmed that as much. Of course, this is one of the rare times this season that we've actually got 3 games in the space of actually 6 days, not even 7 days, 6 days. Of course, the game against Fulham on Sunday, we're playing on Wednesday, and then we're playing once again on Saturday. So it's 3 games in the space of 6 days for Manchester United. So that means in between that, we're going to rotate. Amorim said the following about rotation versus Grimsby. He said, quote, "We have 3 games this week. We have quality players and we need to do rotation to try and win every game." Now, he also spoke about Nusay Mazraoui. If he's going to be available, he said, quote, "Maybe he is going to return next week," this being this week, "but he is near. We are just finishing some drills of him to be sure that he's not going to have another problem." He also said something quite interesting, which I think has caught quite a few people's attention, saying, quote, "We are not prepared to play in Europe this season. That is my feeling. To have strong games in Champions League and play in the Premier League, we need time to develop as a team. We just need to fight, and then anything can change." I mean, I guess he's not lying there, in the sense that we're not prepared to play in Europe this season because our squads, we can barely win the Prem, let alone compete at a European level. Granted, last season we more than competed in the Europa League. We made it to the final, didn't win, and we actually saw quite a big difference between the quality of our performances in the Premier League versus the quality of performance in the Europa League. I think it probably said more about the quality in the Europa League. Granted, last season it was the first season where teams didn't drop down from the Champions League, and it was quite noticeable. But we did beat some teams that, actually had successful domestic seasons, and the likes of Bilbao and others on the way to get into the Europa League final. But the fact that we're talking even about Europe, I suppose we're in the Carabao Cup second round against Grimsby is a bit too much. But the point being is he's saying there that he is going to rotate. So that likely means starts for probably Andre Onana, right? On Andre Onana, because it's been Bayindir that's been starting the games in the sticks. So it'll be interesting to see actually who does start. Is it going to be Bayindir because he's back to being the cup goalkeeper? Or is it going to be Andre Onana? And that means that Bayindir is going to continue between the sticks until Senna Lamons comes in. I think probably Onana will get his first minutes. We shall wait and see. Other names that we could probably expect to see start tomorrow in the Carabao Cup are likely to be Kobbie Mainoo. Of course, so much conversation, so much chatter being about Kobbie and his future, or possibly that thereof, at Manchester United. He's going to start, I think, tomorrow. I would think Benjamin Šeško would probably start. He hasn't started in the first 2 Premier League games, even though I had hoped to see him start against Fulham at the weekend. That didn't happen. So I expect him to start on Wednesday. And the hope would be that he gets a goal and then gets up and running, and then he's starting at the weekend against Burnley at home just before the international break. You would hope that would be the case. If I had to predict the whole team, well, it's going to be a bit tough. Let's have a look, actually, who started at the weekend against Fulham and kind of work backwards throughout that, because I think we could see 10 or 11 changes, frankly. So let's say it's Onana in goal. Back 3, you're probably looking at Maguire, Aiden Heaven. Maybe Fredrickson gets a go in defence as well there. In terms of the wing-backs, you probably do expect Dalot to start this one. And on the left, Diego Leon, you would think would come in there. Midfield 2, as I mentioned, Kobbie and most likely Ugarte. The 2 10s, I would probably, again, you probably would see... it depends actually, striker. So... Benjamin Šeško starts at front. Maybe Joshua Zirkzee starts in behind. And then the other 10 could be still a Matheus Cunha or a Brian Mbeumo, one of them, just because Ruben might want one of them to get a goal and get moving. That might be the team. I would be too shocked by that. But like I said, it goes without saying, this has to be a win. I know that we've had the argument before. It's like when we played Wigan in the FA Cup a few years ago, and Flex and KG had the argument, didn't they, about... this one isn't on the manager, depending on the result, kind of thing, because any fool can coach a victory for Manchester United over Grimsby, and I get KG's point, but at the same time, it's there would just be no way back. There wouldn't, and obviously, if something bad did happen, you could say negative again. It's negative. I don't think it would be the end of Ruben Amorim, but I'm not sure where else to go. with that, but I don't think that's the case. I'm going for a Man United win. I think a bit like last year with Barnsley, I think Man United, maybe it's not 7-0, it's not at home. Sometimes you go to these League 2 grounds, it'll be a sellout there. Manchester United's coming to town. I think it's the first time we've travelled to Grimsby since the 1930s or something. So it'll be a hot ticket, it'll sell out, and they'll make an atmosphere. I think quality will obviously shine through. I'm going to go with a 4-0 Manchester United win, something along those lines. Sometimes it can be a little bit more cagey than that because of the atmosphere, facilities, what have you. So you could end up with like a 3-0 or something like a 3-1 and go, but look, as long as we go through and it's not done on penalties or something ridiculous like that where we go, oh my God, that was embarrassing. Win by a couple of goals, build up some confidence and momentum. It's not going to take too much judgment from it. If you win, it's not like people are going to be raving. If you lose, people are going to go crazy. So it's kind of the only way to for Ruben Amorim to not even get positivity, but just avoid terror is just win and then focus on the next one. The next 2 games are so big, Ruben Amorim. Like, he has to win, obviously, on Wednesday, and then Saturday has to win at home against Burnley. It's critical 2 games. So I'm going to go with a win. Like I said, I'll go 4-0. Hopefully, finally, we start to score some goals, and you can have Benjamin Šeško get a couple as well. So there you go, guys. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know your predictions for everything in the comment section below. Reminder, later on today, if you're watching this on Tuesday, Flex and KG show coming up at 7 p.m. in its usual time slot. Tomorrow, Wednesday, will be match day. So, of course, as always, we'll be live for the match view. I'll be live 2 hours before kickoff. It doesn't matter that it's Grimsby in the Carabao Cup, okay? Always on a match day. 2 hours live before kickoff. I will be live on the match view. I'm assuming it'll be Flex and KG joining me for the match view on Wednesday. So it'll be a special Trinity match view. So be sure to join us for that. And of course, with members, you'll be able to call in before, during, and after the game to have your say. There wasn't really a post-match one because I had to jump from one stream to another. I was streaming for 9 hours consecutively on Sunday because of Wrestle News 365. Madness. That's not going to be the case tomorrow or at the weekend, which is good. So if you are a member or you do want to call in on tomorrow's stream, you can do so. Just become a member and you can have your say as well. I appreciate everyone for tuning in. As always, more content coming soon. Let me know your predictions in the comment section below. I'm out of here. Peace.